Pages, hot off the press, served to you fresh. We present to you local and international newspaper headlines for the day with in-depth analysis from seasoned professionals. Start your day the right way on 99.3 Nigeria Info. Nigeria Info.
99.3 Nigeria Info. Yes, we are back. Great presentation from our sports crew. I just listened to Sports Driver this morning. Yeah, welcome to From the Front Pages here on the nation's #1 news, talk and sports radio station. Remember that at this juncture, you can actually watch us live on Twitter and, of course, Facebook. YouTube is also there. On Facebook and YouTube, we are Nigeria Info 99.3. That is Nigeria Info 99.3. You can tweet us at Nigeria Info FM. That's at Nigeria Info FM. Our WhatsApp portal is also active because we'll be taking your thoughts as well via all those platforms. The WhatsApp number is 0809 597 5805. That is 0809 597 5805. I'm Sheriff Quadry.
And I'm Wemimo Adewuni. Good morning to you. Welcome. Remember to join us on all of those platforms. Rotimi Sankore is here with us today. Rotimi, good morning to you.
Morning.
All right, Nigeria, you can leave us your comment on all those platforms. Sheriff has told you on the headlines that you find interesting. Let's start with this one from the Punch newspaper. Banner headline here: signing of bill in UK. Nigerians attack Buhari. There are quite a number of writers in this one. Buhari now prefers working overseas, says NBA. It's dictatorial, lawless. Afenifere Ohaneze saying that president can work from any part of the world. This is coming from the presidency and Oshomole. No letter on power transmission to Yemi Osinbajo, says reps. All of this we find from the Punch newspaper. It's also the banner headline on The Nation. Buhari can rule Nigeria from anywhere, says Oshomole. You find this, and of course, there's talk about the Deep Onshore Act amendment being a great step from The Nation. You find this also in the Vanguard. Signing PSC bill in London. Buhari can govern from anywhere, says Oshomole from the Vanguard.
It's here on the front page of Daily Trust newspaper. Buhari presiding over Nigeria from London. Oshomole speaking. It's a banner from the front page of Daily Independent newspaper. Buhari can rule from anywhere. Oshomole. Rider defends signing amended deep offshore law in London. Rotimi.
Well, this is one of those controversies that generally we can do without. I'm sure the president, if you ask him in a quiet corner about this, I'm sure he will know what is wrong with it. It's not whether it is, it's not always whether it is constitutional in the sense that whether he has exceeded the number of days he should be away for.
21 days.
Yes, it's not always about that. In governance, especially in an underdeveloped country, especially in a country that many people would say is over-militarized, especially in a country that is being run by a former military general who also happened to have seized power in a coup, even though he says he's now a reformed Democrat. It's not always, you can go on and on about the reasons why he shouldn't have done it, because once you aggregate all those things, the overall impression that is given is that the president or a president feels that what other people think is not important. And in this respect, specifically as regards the vice president and his role, once you form the impression or give the impression or people assume that the vice president is no longer important and that he's being treated with disdain, and in Nigeria, people will start adding unnecessary, there will be ethnicity, there will be religion, there will be power play, there will be cabal. It's not appropriate.
Let's look at what the law really says, because the presidency, they've stuck to their guns and they've said that's what the law says. If you go on Twitter, throughout yesterday, Twitter was divided, social media across, especially a lawmaker from the House of Reps, Oloye Aki Alabi Award, who especially explained in a thread that the chief of staff would play a more important role than the vice president, making example of a Pompeo and a Pence, and saying that's in the US, and saying so the chief of staff is like the PA to the president, so he'll be more active. So the controversies about the chief of staff, Abakari, being all over the place while the vice president is barely.
Well, what is...
So the question is, what really is constitutional? Does what people feel matter if the presidency has not gone against the law?
Well, I've seen all those comments. Pompeo is the Secretary of State, not the Chief of Staff to President Trump. And
they play practically the same role, so...
Not really, but let's set that aside. The twist in the tale is this. The president went for official duty in Saudi, extended that official duty to a religious obligation, which is in his private capacity. From there, announced that he is going on a private visit to a foreign country. Now, when you are going on a private visit, you don't have the full retinue of state with you. It is not like when Trump is going for, say, G7 or G8, and in Air Force One, the Air Force, effectively the White House transfers to Air Force One.
Right.
He goes with everything, the nuclear code, the chief of staff, the whole White House moves with him. So once he's in Air Force One, he's in the White House. He's going for an official summit. If Trump says he's going for a private visit in Alaska or Australia or to the moon or to Jupiter, and it is a private visit, he's not going to go with the whole retinue of state. So he can't very well be expected to govern from Jupiter. He's on a private visit. That's the twist. So the president announced he's going for a private visit after going for the summit and the religious obligation in Saudi Arabia.
What I see that the presidency has been careful to play over is that the constitution mentions vacation, and they're careful never to use the word vacation. In the case where they use the word vacation, they make sure the stay is never up to 21 days. So he insists he's not obliged to hand over to the vice president.
So that's why I went on that explanation that it's not whether you have overstayed the number of days constitutionally allowed. It's whether it is appropriate in the circumstances.
Well, there's a case in court on this. In fact, I've been following it. I don't know why there isn't a ruling yet. I know the last time I checked, it was adjourned till October 7th.
It's a controversy we could do without.
A lawyer has taken the presidency to court on this.
I'm sure that even Buhari by now understands that it's a controversy we can do without.
Rotimi, let's move this on quickly because of time. We have this operation Identify Yourself. This is how the headline is written from the Vanguard. Court orders army to maintain status quo. This is from the Vanguard. It's also in the Nation. Court halts operation Show ID. Hearing slated for November 18. The Punch has it, and also the Guardian.
It's a banner on the front page of Daily Sun newspaper. Court stops operation positive identification. It's also here on the front page of Daily Independent. Court orders army to suspend identification exercise.
We had a full conversation about this early Monday morning. Femi Falana has taken the army to court. Now the court says status quo until the hearing later this month.
Well, we don't need to relitigate the conversation of Monday, but just to say that I just sincerely hope that the Chief of Army Staff will behave himself and obey the court order. We don't need another controversy of a soldier coming out to say that the court cannot stop something because it is a security. Once he says that he has overstepped by 2 marks, and if the judge goes the whole way and says arrest him for contempt, then then Nigeria will be in an interesting
situation.
Zone. Yes, the chief of army staff should just behave, obey the court order, go and explain themselves, and listen in the courts,
right,
to why the encroachment on the on the space of the police is unconstitutional. I mean, we've already seen this thing play out. I mean, the other time the army was involved in a shootout with the police over a kidnapper. That's a sign of encroachment.
Right.
And other.
Let's move on quickly.
So many other instances like that.
Let's move on quickly now. We begin with Daily Independence this time. Minimum wage, Labour directs state councils to open talks with governors. That's Daily Independent. Similar headline from Daily Sun. Minimum wage, Labour sets December 31 deadline for negotiation with governors. A rider to stick to agreed structure with federal government. That's from Daily Sun newspaper.
Well, we have it also on the Punch. Labour rights states set for minimum wage negotiations. Let me just give you a summary of what the letters have written is. According to the council secretary, the agreement with the federal government is the minimum that all state negotiations must achieve. And they stress that in some states where pay package has been poor, percentage increase would be higher than what was agreed with the federal government. According to him, they also said that they're hopeful that by December 31st, all negotiations should be wrapped up.
Well,
as a summary,
the state governments should just pay and let us move into 2020 peacefully.
They insist that they don't have the capacity to pay.
That's blatantly not true. It's blatantly not true. The maintenance of the governor and his retinue, which in most cases is not only surpasses what any normal person should live on, but is also illegal. We need to start about the security vote again and the billions of naira that the governor set aside for security votes. The first 2 lines of defense should be 1, education, and then 2, gainful employment. Those are the first 2 lines of security in any civilized society. And they've set aside the security vote to secure themselves and their future generation. And they expect that there will be peace.
Every other person can get by. I mean, that's just a summary. But the negotiations will start, and we'll be following up for you in Nigeria Info state by state as this negotiation with the governors and Labour will begin at state levels. It will be very interesting to watch.
Let us have a happy new year.
Well, I do hope so. Senate confirms Odubu Okumagba as NDDC chairman. MD declines clearance for Rivers nominee. Abaribe Kuremadu raised concern over interim board. Commission stops 1 billion naira monthly consultancy fee. Who was that paid for? We'll find that in a moment. This is from the Guardian newspaper on the front page. The Nation Minister orders cuts of data rate. Okay. I think this is a separate story. Yes, it's a separate story. The similar story here is Senate sacks NDDC's interim management. This is from the Nation newspaper. The Punch also has it. Senate confirms NDDC board members reject Akpabio panel.
It's here, Daily Sun newspaper. NDDC Senate executive head for showdown. Rider disagree on tenure of interim board. Board members confirmed. That's on the front page of Daily Sun newspaper this morning. And it's being said that, Rotimi, there is this showdown looming between the Senate and the executive, the federal government. The Senate is arguing that you cannot put up interim board when the law did not say that there should be interim. They're thinking that the executive is trying to take over their powers to be able to put up a board for the NDDC.
Well, when people allow encroachment and start crying wolf down the road, Amoye acting, Amoye interim, Amoye, do we need to start
How do you say Amoye in English now?
There are some things you can't interpret properly. Honestly,
I can't even help.
there are some things that if you don't understand, nobody can help you at this point. I mean, Amoye is almost like Yoruba pidgin now.
Yeah. I'm always like several doesn't aptly describe.
How many?
Like how many can you count?
How many acting can you count?
Right.
How many interim can you count?
There'll be many of them.
Sometimes for full tenure.
Right. There was also mild drama.
Something that should have been stopped right from the first day.
Right.
From The Guardian. There was mild drama when the Senate Minority Leader, Yinaya Baribe, identified a certain Nunei as the same person that was sworn in on the interim board of the NDDC by the president, which might be the reason she had stayed away. A court says this nominee from Rivers State appears to be the same person sworn in as the managing director of the interim committee of NDDC. It said that irrespective of the confusion caused by the issue, Nuneni was a nominee of the president, so they should do the needful, return to the presidency in due course. The interim board was also described as an illegality and a sabotage of the NDDC law. And the NDDC law expects that any appointment into the board is to be ratified by the National Assembly. So the same person has been put forward for the board.
And
Follow the
honestly,
story.
it's not just this president. Previous presidents have done this. I mean, in governance terms, you can describe it as mago-mago. You can, even governors do it, not just the president.
Right. So, but now the National Assembly...
You put forward somebody that is not or will not be accepted for something, and then say the person is acting on interim, and just leave the person there indefinitely.
Let's read some comments on our way out. Facebook, Patrick Real is watching from Italy. Thank you. Unye Dikachi Okeke is watching from Franceville. Thank you. Wabara Dr. Mrs. from Owerri says there's no justification for the president signing a law in UK when we have a vice president who could have handed over power to, who is now acting on his behalf. Nobody.
Case scenario, he will
Nobody.
sign it
when he comes back instead of spending so much money flying the bill. Will says Nigeria can't work with this present system. If you talk like this till rapture happens, okay, even if we keep talking. All right, thank you. Bolan Wakimbami here says the PMB is legally right to sign bill overseas. The political move is to further checkmate Bull in China shop or Shimbaju, who is a no-nonsense acting president. Elder Jerry Uhange JP says it's wrong for the president to have signed a bill into law in London while on a private visit. So much uncertainty and tension because of certain actions and body language in the presidency. Other stories that might interest you across the dailies. NCC gets deadline to address illegal data deductions and review prices. There are also stories about the fire on Lagos Island yesterday.
That's right. You can also find other stories such as corruption still in system, says SGF and Sagi. Masov asks Southeast governors to honor Ojukwu. Pick up any dailies today and read further any story that actually jumps out at you.
Rotimi, we really need to go now.
Yeah,
we really need to go. We're out of time. We need to pay some bills. We'll be back after this break to then talk about bank charges, yes, and how they might affect cashless transactions. I've been withdrawing money from my bank, keeping cash on me, just saving myself a lot of stress. Really stressful.
Under the pillow.
In the colo and everywhere. Let's talk about this.
In one hole under the bed.
Right. We'll see you again shortly with Rotimi Sankore. I'm Wemimo Adewuni.
I'm Sheriff Quadry. We are back in a moment.